do believe I'm going to need a trim soon. Hello everyone and welcome to Monday. About 2 weeks ago, I asked all of you to ask me questions specifically related to updates, things that we've talked about on the vlog before or shown on the vlog before, and we just haven't updated you on in a while. And I haven't forgotten about the vlog, so why I'm doing it today, and I've gotten quite a few comments asking a variety of questions, so today is the day. Here's your updates. And what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna kind of pick some randomly and try to make this almost like a rapid fire Q&A of sorts, so hopefully I can answer some of your questions. So the first question is from Mark, says, do you like the fresh waffles or do you prefer frozen waffles full of chemicals and preservatives? Asking for my friend Arthur. You might be just slightly biased. I do like the fresh made waffles. The waffle mix was really, really wonderful, and having a waffle iron has been fun because we've always made pancakes because you can make pancakes if you have a griddle. That said, I don't have anything against frozen waffles. In fact, the ones that we bought recently from the grocery store that were like, not the Eggos, but like the actual Belgian waffles, I was impressed at how good they were and how convenient they were because they went in the toaster. That being said, nothing really beats making a waffle yourself at home, so it was fun. In the near future, I'd really like to do some sort of a taste test using like the same mix to make waffles and pancakes and just see what if the cooking itself changes the experience using the exact same mix. Maybe we'll do that in the near future. Line Rider asks, any updates on making disc only more frequent? I know you had that idea since the start and you were always down to do it, but can we expect that to happen anytime soon? So I was always the holdout on that. Everyone else was kind of like, yeah, that sounds like, that's something we'd like to do. And I was always concerned because I have taken on too much in the past. And I know from experience, having taken on too much stuff in the past, that I have to be careful as I approach new projects. So, for the first year or so, I was like, yeah, it's a possibility, maybe at some point. And now I got to tell you, I don't feel that way. I feel like it's fine at just a month. And it's part of it is worrying about how much time I have because it does take time to do. But also, I'm actually satisfied with it being a monthly thing. I don't know that there's that much extra to glean from doing it twice a month. I might be alone of all of the members of Disc Only thinking that, but that's kind of my take on it. So as of right now, I personally, no interest in doing it more frequently. Swiffer Sweeper says, whatever happened to your Pokemon X and Y series that you had going many years ago? And is there any plan on returning to that with either that game or Sword and Shield? We just stopped playing the game. I mean, we played it a little bit and talked about it on the vlog when we were playing it, but we got busy. We had other things to do and there were other games to play. So we just never got back around to it. But if you're a Pokemon fan, stay tuned. Samuel Page asks, how's caffeine treating you? I've learned a lot about it. I've learned a little bit more about how it affects me, how it affects my body. And at this point, I'm not like on or off caffeine. I'm just acutely aware of what it does. I can handle, from what I understand, my body can handle caffeine in a reasonable amount, but I struggle with caffeinated coffee. And I can still have caffeinated coffee, and sometimes I do, but when I drink a cup in the morning, I'm kind of like mentally preparing myself like, if you do this, you're gonna go to the bathroom a bit. And that seems to be what my self-research has shown. So what I've been doing a lot is I still drink coffee, but I'm having decaf a lot. Because if I choose to have like caffeinated tea later, or I don't drink soda very much anymore, but if I have a soda, that really doesn't seem to mess up my bowels very much. It seems to very specifically be the caffeinated coffee. So a lot of times in the mornings, if I want that same feeling, because really it's not about the caffeine for me, it's about the feeling, I'll have decaf. And I'm in a much better state than I was in the past. That being said, sometimes I wake up and I'm a little tired, so I'll have a cup of caffeinated coffee, but whenever I'm pouring it, I'm like, okay, you're gonna poop a lot, and I do. One-Handed Media says, how's the Purple Mattress doing over 24 months in? It's great. It's great. We actually did a video about that a while ago, like a few months ago, so kind of semi-recent, and we've really loved it. been a quality mattress, and we're not sponsored or anything by them, but I would recommend them. They're really good company. Desun Lee said, I don't think we ever got an update on those one-bag slow cooker freezer meals you guys did at the old place. So actually, the 2018 vlogs, which are still coming out at the moment, we're still doing them during that, so you'll probably get more of an update as those vlogs finish up. Not right now, because the ones that are coming out are the road trip. But the general consensus is that they weren't very good. They just weren't very good. There were some that were all right, but most of them were just not great. So there's probably some level of merit to the idea behind it. And certainly I love doing meal prep for a week or something, but we did a huge amount of meal prep, and it ended up, some of them were downright disgusting, I remember. So, your mileage may vary. Zappy Naruto asks, an update on student loans, and actually a lot of people had this question. There's not really a notable update right now, other than they exist and we continue to pay them. That being said, I hope to have a notable update next year. That's the hope. That is subject to change, and that is subject to change based heavily on what happens the rest of this year. There is some stuff happening behind the scenes that we are not ready to talk about yet. And we'll be talking about it soon. Patrons already know, and they've known for a while. But there's some stuff happening behind the scenes we'll talk about in the next few months. And depending on how it goes, will probably be dependent upon whether or not I have some news to announce regarding student loans next year or not. But as of right now, it's just kind of one of those things of no news is good news. I mean, or no news is normal news. We keep trucking on them, I guess. It's a weight you wear around your neck for many, many years. Not so much a question, but a request for future content. Grant asked, I know you have it all documented, but I would love in-depth videos on your game collection, stories, favorite games, etc. Noted. I think that there's a lot of interest in this, because anytime I do little update videos about collecting, things like that, those videos always do really well. Obviously, we have a lot of video game fans that are watching the vlog, because Mal and myself are big video game fans and we collect video games. So, noted. I'll try and come up with very specific ideas for that sort of content in the future, and make some of that here on the vlog. I think that'd be fun. Damon Live asks, who's been winning the bet on the macaroon for the fantasy sumo leagues? I don't follow sumo, so all I really care about is who's right about a color. So the macaroon can only actually be one of three colors, I think. It can be gold, pink, or green. I'm not sure it's ever been any other colors. And how the betting for that works is whoever stays up late enough on the final night of sumo gets to bet on it. And sometimes there are more than 3 people watching, so the first 3 people that place their bets are going to claim green, pink, or gold. And then after that, it's just you can bet a color, but it's not going to work. Also, sometimes they don't show it. We'll be watching, sumo, and they end up not showing the thing. So there's been times where there has been a guess, and then they never show it, so we don't even know. So, that's sometimes why we don't talk about it, because sometimes they don't even tell you. Ellipso asked, how are you liking that color-accurate monitor? So for those who are not aware, whenever I got the iMac back in, it's been a year ago. When I got it a year ago, one of the things I got shortly thereafter was a color-accurate monitor. Always wanted one, finally got one. The reason I haven't done a review on that monitor since having it is that I really haven't used it to its full potential. It's a 4K color-accurate monitor, but it also has enough nits of brightness to do HDR mastering. And I really have wanted to try that out, and I've never gotten around to it. This camera, the new vlog camera, actually can create HDR content. And it's kind of been on my to-do list once I'm caught up on vlogs. It's okay, maybe try and make some HDR stuff just to see what it's like. So once I do that, I'll probably do a full in-depth review of the monitor. But as a general rule, I like it. There's things I don't. There's little nitpicks I have, and it also has given me a deeper appreciation for stuff that's much more expensive. because this monitor was expensive in the world of monitors, but it's not very expensive in the world of color accurate monitors. And I have used it long enough now to see why. For instance, what was it, a year ago or so, whenever people were like, I can't believe Apple released this monitor, it's $5,000. Like, I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to be like, I kind of get it. I kind of understand why monitors cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm starting to get a better understanding of where the little differences are and why someone would pay that much money. Obviously, that's like industry level stuff, and people that are going to spend that much money are probably in an industry, but at least I get it. Very quickly, though, I wanted to say that if you're looking for a color accurate monitor, the Asus ProArt line does have cheaper stuff if you're willing to do 1080p. So like if you're looking for a monitor that has like resolution, you can get a relatively cheap 4K monitor that has like the resolution so you can see stuff. But if you're looking to do things just for color, consider getting a 1080p monitor because they are way, way cheaper. You can get a 24-inch color accurate 1080p monitor from the ProArt line for like less than $250, and that's really good. So if you're interested in having a color accurate monitor for design work, or you're interested in getting into some color stuff for film or whatever, definitely take a look at that, and don't be afraid to have a smaller monitor and work off of that, because you'll actually save a ton of money. You'll save a whole lot of money. Doug asked quite a few questions. I'll just try and quickly hit on some of them. How's my vertigo been lately, and has it gotten worse since the start of Mario Galaxy? No, Galaxy hasn't really been triggering for it as far as I can remember. I've been able to play it just fine, and otherwise vertigo's been okay. There usually has to be like something happen, although not always. Sometimes it can just hit you, and those are weird. But I only get probably about 3 of those spells a year, I would say. And they're not fun because I'll just be chilling and all of a sudden it's like, is the room spinning? But it's usually short-lived, so I haven't had anything real bad happen in a bit. How has Mal been doing since she quit teaching? I mean, good. Being a teacher continues to be, in my opinion, one of the hardest careers just in general. And I know Mal's been really grateful that she's been home during everything that's happened in the past year, because being a teacher is already so difficult, and being a teacher in the past year has been remarkably hard. She also has coworkers that are still teaching that she keeps in touch with, and it just confirms her suspicions that everything is really difficult. So she is happy to be doing what she's doing. She really is. Have we started planning for Extra Life? Yes, it's in 2 months. How have you two and Kepler adjusted to living without Sagan for a year and a half? It's been super hard. It's been super hard. The house feels empty. There is a low-level depression that I feel has never gone away. And part of it has to do with the fact that his passing was so closely aligned to the start of the pandemic and things just not being normal. But it just sucks. It totally sucks. Our house has never went back to feeling normal. Like, pandemic aside, like there is a hole in our hearts in our house that it is very unexplainable. But as far as like adjusting in the sense of emotionally, I think we've adjusted emotionally fine. We allowed ourselves plenty of time to grieve at the beginning, and continue to grieve even now. I mean, there's, I would say, at least every month or two, I'll have an instance where I just cry. I still miss him so much, and I'm so grateful for Kepler, but like, I still think about him a whole lot. How's your dad's paintings been going? Good. He's still focusing mostly on canvases, although every once in a while he actually does get out of the rock and work on rocks still. But he continues to just really impress me with everything that he's accomplished. He's done just a remarkable job. Got a question from Zach. It says, I know a while back you discussed on stream about switching which NLE you use from Final Cut to Resolve. Did anything come of that? I still have an interest in using Resolve, but no, I'm still using Final Cut. The reason for that is all of my stuff, all of my daily workflow, all of my presets, all of my effects, all of my filters, like everything that I use is in Final Cut. So moving to anything else would be very, very difficult. But the other thing is I'm really fast in Final Cut because I know it really well. Also, Final Cut is really fast. There's been quite a few folks that have put like Final Cut and Premiere and Resolve like head to head, and they've discovered that Final Cut in a lot of the tasks just outpaces a bunch of the other programs, which is helpful whenever you're trying to have a really fast turnaround time. So I think all the NLEs have their merits, and certainly you should use whatever you're comfortable with. I have a huge interest in learning Resolve and playing around with it, but I don't know that I would ever use Resolve for my daily stuff at this point, especially because like in the past year or so, I've actually spent money on effects for within Final Cut to get stuff done. For instance, I had bought a copy of Flicker Free to get rid of some strobing effect whenever we did the lamp video. And like that's in Final Cut. So I don't know. I think that for the foreseeable future, especially since I'm going to be staying on Mac hardware, I'm probably just going to keep using Final Cut. And if I get the time at some point, I'll probably dabble in Resolve. Hopefully. The other reason that's somewhat reasonable to stick with Final Cut is that the new vlog camera actually outputs ProRes RAW if you attach it to like a Ninja 5 by Atomos. So like if you're using ProRes footage, then you're going to be in Final Cut anyway. So I don't know. I still have an interest in it. Love to learn it at some point, but I don't know how soon it'll be. Mythos Gaming says, I'd like to see an update on the battery backup that you got a while back. I'm assuming you're talking about the uninterrupted power supply, because I had to replace one upstairs. It works, and it works well. In fact, we've bought another one since then. I don't think we ever talked about the fact we bought a second one. But I think it was having, like the UPS didn't die, but it was having like wattage issues or voltage issues or whatever it's called. I'm not an electrician, I don't know this stuff. So I bought a new one to replace this other one too. So I actually have two now, and I love them a lot. They're more expensive than the old ones, but they support more devices. And because the stuff I'm using pulls a lot of power, it makes sense to have that anyway. So yeah, highly recommended. If I remember, I'll put a link to that in the description of this vlog if you're interested in that specific UPS. If you have like a big desktop computer with like monitors and all this crap, you should probably have a UPS no matter what. And if you're going to bother spending the money on it, you might as well get a good one. And I had bought a lot of kind of cheaper ones over the years, and I finally have a good one and I like it, so I would recommend that. Steven says, I'd like an update on the air humidity situation. The air humidity has been fine for a while. Oh, I will tell you something. There was something I'd said on the vlog where like there's a dehumidifier setting on the AC unit that we bought upstairs, and I had been running that, but it was like not enough. Anyway, I was told by a lot of people to just cut that out and just run the AC like normal and it would resolve itself, and that was true. So I just run the AC like normal upstairs on that unit, and the humidity has not been a problem as long as I keep it on. And I keep it on. Like I haven't shut the AC unit off upstairs in months. It's constantly on, it constantly runs, and that is the only way to keep the upstairs tolerable in the summer. I'm very, very thankful that we don't have that much longer until summer is over and like the air starts cooling down, because then I can finally stop running that thing. Nintendo Lover asks, is Mao still doing The Purge? And for those who are not familiar, The Purge was where Mao was trying to get rid of an object in the house every day. So we had like a little box that we would do donations to the Goodwill, and Mao would go through the house and she was like, we have too much stuff, there's too much clutter, I'm gonna find something every day and I'm gonna put it into this box. And the answer to that is no, she hasn't done it in a long time. It's been a while. But now that you've brought it to my attention, maybe we'll start doing it again. We still do it occasionally. Like we always have a Goodwill box around, And then every once in a while, we'll stumble across something and we'll say, we haven't used this in a long time. We should donate it and get rid of it. But as far as it being a daily occurrence, it hasn't been a daily occurrence in a while. Steve D says, what happened with the daily flossing that you started many years ago? I need an update. I'm pretty sure when I had done it, I was only doing it for when I went to the dentist, or maybe whenever I got after the dentist. I don't remember because it's been like a long time ago. That being said, yeah, I don't floss every day. I'm sorry if this is somehow new and a disappointment to anybody. It's just a lot of work, and I don't see a ton of value in it. Sorry. I think the problem for me is that for many years, and this still continues today, like I'll go for a long stretch without really flossing or flossing regularly, and then like right before I go to the dentist, I'll floss for like a week, and the dentist will be like, "You're doing a good job when you're flossing," and I'm like, "But I'm not doing that. I'm doing bad." Anyway, you should floss. Don't listen to me. You should floss. RareGamer99 says, random update. How many miles are on your car now that you're driving? We just rolled over 6,000. So we're at I think we're at 6,100 or something like that. So, but we also made that trip to Florida and back, which is probably where we gathered a lot of miles recently. Zim asks, I've always wanted to know when exactly you met Emil. I know you mentioned how you met him on the same website that you met Mao on. How did it happen? Did you know Emil before Mao? How was that first interaction that solidified your friendship? I guess what I'm asking for is details. I did know Emil before Mao. So it's hard to explain the concept of message boards in this day and age because people are growing up in an era where there's not really message boards. I guess the closest equivalent is Reddit, and that's a message board, but it's not really the same feeling. Anyway, I was a member of a community. Emil was a member of the same community, so we were familiar with each other from that. And then at some point, and I don't know when, we added each other on AOL Instant Messenger and chatted that way. And I don't know when that was, to be perfectly honest. I know that we were both teenagers. We were probably 15, somewhere between 14 and 16 years old. And, we just talked. I knew that Emil was always a huge Pokemon fan, and I knew that. And for a while, we played a MMO called Trickster, and we played that together for a bit. And then we just continued to chat even as we went off to college. And that was where I got to know Emil a lot better, because that was when he started doing Let's Playing, and he was asking for technical help regarding some of the hooking up cables and all this other stuff, and what equipment he would need. And I was able to help him, but I didn't even understand at the time what he was doing. So I've known him for a long time, and we've chatted and stuff for a long time. But I'd say that we've only become better friends over the years. In that at the beginning we were friends, but we didn't get to really know each other all that well through high school. I think we got to know each other a lot better once we were in college. Third Dumbo says, your electric razor, are you still using it, or did you go back to regular? I'm still using that electric razor. It's been great. It's been great. It shaves me, and it doesn't cut me, and I actually really like it. I don't think I'll ever go back to using a normal razor now. I've also never had to change the head of it. The head is still the same. And it sits in, I think I showed it at the time, that sits in a base that cleans out the head for you. You just hit a button, and I just order some of that cleaning solution every once in a while. I haven't ordered very much of it. I probably go through one thing every month or two. It's really kind of an inexpensive thing. I assume that at some point I'll have to replace the head on that, but I haven't yet, so I've been enjoying it. Damasta Samsto says, are you getting the 100th friend heart in Kirby Star Allies? And if so, will you do the new arena challenge unlocked from that? I'm not going to tell you that I won't do it. I just don't know when I would. Faylina says, it's been about a year since you got your 2020 27-inch iMac. How's it been since then? It's been great. I mean, I knew when I purchased it that I was getting the last Intel model. I was well aware that Apple was moving to their own chips, and I'm excited for that. but I literally could not wait any longer. Like, I was running off of a MacBook from several years ago. The battery was expanding. I couldn't send it in to get it, fixed or anything because I needed it for work. And it still technically works. Like, I never did send it in. I still have it, and it's functional. But I needed something more powerful, and I needed something faster, and the iMac has been that for me. It won't be my last Apple computer. Eventually, I'm sure at some point in the future, I'll get some sort of computer that has their chips, because there's things that they're running on their own chipset that they're not running on Intel, which happened faster than I thought it would. But all things being fair, like, I love the computer. I really do. I ask it to do a thing, it does a thing, it does it quickly. I've really enjoyed it. Brian asked, I know you probably already talked about it before many, many times, but I was wondering, how would you rate your experience at SCAD? I've just gotten accepted into the MFA for film and television production. I'd like to hear an overall review of the school and program. I know it's a lot to ask, but if you're able to shed some light on it, that would be much appreciated. My experience at SCAD was good. Like, it's a good school. My problem with SCAD is that it is prohibitively expensive. And if you get in on loans, which is what I did, then you're in debt for forever. And it has a really, really bad, I don't know what the technical term is, but turnaround rate. Like, for people that pay the money, get the degree, and then they don't end up with a job in their field. So I always warn people, I think going there for an MFA is a great idea, because they do have amazing facilities, they have amazing professors, and you really get out of it what you put in. And I've talked about this on the vlog for many years. An art degree is not really that helpful. There's not a lot of people that are like, where's your art degree? If I see your art degree, then you're all set. Like, you have to have a portfolio, and that's for everything, man. For like design work, illustrator work, web work, like whatever you're doing, like, you have to make stuff. And if you're gonna use the facilities and the professors and the experience there to make stuff and walk out of there with a portfolio that can get you a job, and the school will help you, then it can be worth it. But it still doesn't guarantee anything, It's not like some other positions where once you get the degree, you can apply and say, look at this degree, I have this degree, and your employer's like, look at that degree, that's a degree. Like, it doesn't work like that for art. So, you get out of it what you put in. I like the school. I would recommend the school, but I would also warn people, especially if they're undergrad, that it's so expensive. Maybe even consider, like, if you are undergrad, like, doing stuff at a community college and then going and just getting some of the core classes, or looking into other options. It's an expensive school. Admin Kevin says, do you have plans on watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood? I loved your vlogs discussing Fullmetal Alchemist as you watched it. I hope Brotherhood is still on your watch list. It is. It's still on our watch list. Right now we're watching the best anime ever made, King of the Hill. Joshua asks, about a year and a half ago, you were talking about documenting your parents' stories. Whatever happened to that? So that all fell apart literally at the exact moment that COVID happened, because what happened was Sagan passed away and we were picking up the pieces from that. And then it was like, there was a span of like a week where I was like, we're going to do this. This is going to be great. And then it was announced that there was a global pandemic. Like, the window for it was so incredibly small. And it sucks so bad because I wanted to get started on it right then and there, and it never happened. And I still have a huge interest in doing it. And now, like, we could do it. We could have them over. But there's so many other things that I feel like I'm always juggling in my life and trying to keep all the balls in the air. But is it something that I've still thought about? I mean, it is. And it's something I still want to do, but I have to be in a place with work, sure, but also mentally to do it. And to be perfectly blunt, I'm just not. I'm just not there to do it. There's been too much other stuff to think about and to worry about, and just outside stimuli, like reading the news, the state of the world. Like, it's hard to explain, but I have to be in a spot to be able to do that, and I'm not there yet. And I want to get back to that point, and I know that there's going to be someone that's like, you got to do it, you're not promised tomorrow. You got to do it now. I get it. But I'm not ready to jump back into that project, and I want to, but I'm not ready yet. Fredburger, which is a great name, slightly random update request. How has the Apple Watch been for Mal? I remember she got it last year, and I'm wondering if it's been useful for health tracking steps, etc., or if it's been relegated to just telling the time plus phone notifications. Mal loves it. Mal absolutely loves it. She's over there nodding. And I mean, it does do all of those things. It does do notifications, but Mal uses it for so much more. And it's been hot lately, but whenever it wasn't hot, we would go and we would do walks, and it would track all of that. Mal hasn't been able to play DDR in a bit, but when she was playing, she would wear the watch and keep track of the physical activity and everything. So she really likes it. And actually, since then, Emil got an Apple Watch because we had talked so much about, how much Mal likes it. And then also, it just has a really, really high customer satisfaction rate. Like Apple products tend to, but even like above that, it's like way up here. It's like everyone that owns an Apple Watch freaking loves the Apple Watch. So something to consider if you're someone that feels like you can benefit from that. Everyone seems to really like them. Sam asks, have you needed to take any motion sickness breaks since recording Mario Galaxy? Has it been bothersome at all, or just the occasional wonky camera? I talked about this in an earlier question. I've been good, and Mal actually has been good too. She was really my concern, and she's been fine. The camera's a little upsetting at times because it does the thing where like you really want it to be upright, but the camera's like, no, I want to be upside down. And sometimes the game doesn't even let you control the camera, which seems odd, but otherwise, it's been fine. Neither of us have been sick, which is a huge relief because that was my biggest worry. Cameron asks, when is the last time you played Magic the Gathering? They came out with a set called Jumpstart about a year ago, and it is awesome for getting back into the game. It's been a while. I'm not going to lie. It's been a bit. The last time I played in a meaningful way, I was still doing content on Steven Plays, because I had covered, it was before Arena came out. It was like the last games that they made before Arena. So it was a Magic Duels. I think it was Magic Duels. And that's kind of the last time, because I hadn't played Paper Magic in a while. I had put a lot of effort into making the cube, where you can do drafts and stuff yourself. And then I kind of fell out of playing Paper Magic, but I still liked playing Digital Magic. And since then, I actually haven't played a whole lot of anything. I got to play a little bit of Arena because I did a first 20 on it, and I love it, but I haven't had time to really devote to it. So Magic is one of those interesting things for me where I still love it, and actually over the years, I've still gone to pre-releases, and sometimes I talk about that on the vlog. I don't go to all of them, but occasionally I'll go to a pre-release just because I love Magic. I love Magic the Gathering. It's a fun game. I love the environment of being around other people and playing cards. Obviously, COVID has kind of shuttered that a little bit, but like in the future, I'm sure I'll continue to go to pre-releases. It's fun. It's fun to play. But at this point in my life, I don't think that I'm ever, I can't say never because I don't know what the future holds, but I don't foresee anything in the near future where I'll be like collecting cards and playing cards, because I don't have the time. It requires going to like every FNM, doing that all the time, and I've got so much other stuff going on that any future for Magic for me will probably almost certainly be playing Arena. John Oliver Guy says, I remember at the start of 2020 you said that would be the year that you watch Harry Potter, and that didn't happen. Do you still plans to watch it in the near distant future? At some point I will. Obviously, there was a lot that happened in 2020 that we couldn't have planned on. But yeah, I want to. I want to do like a watch party, and Lindsay absolutely has to be here because she's the super fan. She knows everything about it, and I think she'd get a kick out of like seeing me experience the films for the first time. So it's still a plan, but I don't know when it's going to happen. Sandra just says, my request is for State of the Steven, how things in life are going, speculative new directions for the channel, how Mao is doing with everything, etc. Things are fine. Things feel like they're in a bit of a holding pattern, and I think to some extent everyone feels that way. We have, and I'm not going to talk very much about this, but we have like really like big ideas, really big plans, and none of them can really move forward. Right now there's just there's too much other stuff going on, and then also with the pandemic still happening, there's some things that they just kind of have to wait. And I think that sort of sucks. One of our issues, and we knew this when we moved in here, is that we don't have enough room, which sounds insane because we have a big place, but with how we want to do things and how we want to be able to like put up all of our games, because right now the only games we have up is Wii, because that's as much room as we have is for that library and nothing else. Like eventually we want to move and we want to have enough space to actually put everything up, and we have so many ideas for different shows and different types of contents and different streams that require different like dedicated spaces for things. So we have all of these really cool ideas, but right now it's just like we're stuck in a holding pattern, so we're just kind of waiting. There's other parts of life that are stuck in a holding pattern too, but as I mentioned earlier, talk about those in the very, very near future. But otherwise, like, things are all right. JTH the Third says, have you heard from the woman that you talked to on your first flight to meet Mao? I believe her name was Charlotte. I know she's written letters and called in the past, but I believe the last update was years ago. That last update, whenever it was, I don't remember what the vlog was called or where, it was located. That was the last update. I have not heard from her since. She had called or something. She either called or we went and had pizza. I can't remember which one happened last, but that was it. I have not heard from her. And I mean, I don't know if I will. It's a weird situation, but it has been years, and at this point, having been so long, I may not hear from her again. Nishka says, any update on getting a mortgage and buying your own house? I remember you saying you were working on it a while ago. Could have been months, maybe years. Time is a construct. Everything has been a blur since COVID started. Yeah, it's been years. It's actually been many years ago. Many years ago, because getting denied for the mortgage and finding out that, at least here in the States, if you are self-employed, it's hard to do anything. Like that's actually one of the reasons that we started a business, is because that is kind of a gateway for getting some things done, being able to get a mortgage and things like that. So that's actually why we started all that in the first place, and that was many years ago. So we have an interest, but you're probably aware the housing market, as of very recently, has went crazy. So again, holding pattern, I've got all sorts of cool plans, and there's nothing that we can really do right now other than sit back and say, okay, well, when prices aren't $1 jillion, let us know. Allison says, probably a more general update, but I'm curious how your schedule has been lately. I know for a while on the vlog you talked about the schedule you and Mal tried to keep and how you made space for a day off on Sundays. Wondering how that's been going, and if things have shifted at all over the last year, if you've managed to stay consistent with it. So, just trying to be transparent here, we did a really good job for, I would say, a majority of this year. I'd say up until summer or May. I'm gonna say May. I think things were going really well until like April or May. Around the time that we got to Colosseum, things started to fall apart a little bit. When we put together that short film with the lamp, like that was, I don't regret doing it, but it started to screw us up a little bit. And since then, we kind of went through an ebb and flow of like, we'll recover and things will get back to normal, and then we'll get off of it a little bit. But for those first few months, we did really good. Like, we were very consistent about waking up at the right times, going to bed at the right times. And we're kind of getting back into it again. So, like, I don't know, it's kind of up and down, but it never feels like super, super detrimental when we're off of it. We're still getting our stuff done. We're still getting stuff out. I prefer to be on a very strict schedule, but I also am understanding of myself and give myself permission to get off of it, because I know that sometimes you just can't do it. Sometimes, based on what things are going on around the house or in our lives, whether personal or work, like, it's just impossible. So, I try not to be angry with myself ever. I try to just give myself permission to say, hey, sometimes things don't work out exactly how you planned, and you just have to roll with it. And Yeah, I've been doing that a good bit over the last few months because the summer has been a little hard. Actually, on that note, Roby says, haven't seen you film DDR in a while. Has that stopped, or is it just that you haven't been filming it recently? Yeah, I have not played since April. I haven't. Things just got so busy. Starting around the time of Coliseum, and then it's like every month there's been something happening. We've been going somewhere. People have been here. We've had something to do. And the big thing for me is it requires a certain level of mental motivation. And I haven't had it. I want it, and there's times where I talk myself and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it, soon or whatever. But it's hard. There's so many other things going on, and I have a huge desire to do it, but I haven't had the level of desire to push me over the edge and actually do it again. And I miss it. And I see the pad every day because we moved it out of the living room and it's propped up in our bedroom. So I see it every single day. And I want to play, and it's hard to explain. I have not been able to bring myself mentally to the point of being able to do it. And I hope that I can in the near future, because I miss it. M10 asks quite a few questions. Is Mao still causing chaos by randomly playing hide and seek? How many Wii games are you missing? How's the non-American GameCube library going? Do you still have anxiety nightmares about Fallout? Who is Cartman's father? That last one, I don't know. I can't answer that one. But Mao still plays hide and seek every once in a while. I'd say a few times a year. It's not like all the time, but probably maybe like 3 times a year, something like that. Mao will do that, and I've just been fortunate to catch it on video a few times. How many Wii games we're missing? As of this video, it's 9. I just did a video about that. It talks specifically about the ones we're missing. If you haven't seen that, check that out. How's the non-American GameCube library going? Well, there's not really any growth there, just for the fact that, I can only buy those. I like to buy video games in person, and I can only buy Japanese GameCube games in Japan, really. Although I think Heaven Shy actually sent us a game that we were missing in the Japanese library, which was really cool. But otherwise, I don't know when we'll get back to Japan. When we do, gosh darn it, I would really like to wrap it up, because we have about half of them, but we'll have to see how that goes. And do I still have anxiety nightmares about Fallout? No, actually quite the opposite. I often forget that I even did Fallout. And I know that probably sounds insane, but it's true. There's often times where I remember that project happened. And I think we just passed the 1-year anniversary of the final episode. And it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's the hardest thing I've ever worked on. It's the longest, hardest thing. I've put so much time and energy into trying to perfect it into being exactly what I wanted it to be, and I'm super happy with the final product. And now that it's over, I'm just on to the next thing. It's strange. This is the final thing on here. This is from Jittery Jackanape. Says, I'd like an update on how you're all doing regarding Kepler and the idea of getting him another cat friend. It was mentioned at some point, I can't remember, but more so, how has he been on a more in-depth look? Does he still show the same issues as before? How has he adjusted? So we have an interest, and I've talked about this very, very briefly on the blog. We have an interest in getting Kepler a friend. That's something that Mao and I, honest to God, we talk about probably almost daily. And I know it hasn't happened, and it hasn't happened for a plethora of reasons. We are not ready for that. And again, this kind of ties into, there's some stuff happening behind the scenes, and there's something coming up that the date is unknown, and we can't get a friend before that because we need to have time. It's super complicated, and you'll just kind of have to take my word for it. But is it something that we're still invested in? Yes. And we talk about it a lot, and we look forward to that day for his sake and for ours. That being said, Kepler's a good cat, and he doesn't have the level of attachment that he had shortly after Sagan died, because for a few months, he really was super, super clingy to me. And he is still clingy in the sense that he definitely wants to be around us. but it's not as bad as it was before. And he's really developed a more of a personality that I think that maybe he didn't even have when Sagan was around. Like, he's been able to kind of, stretch his wings a little bit in the sense of, he's the only cat and he gets all the attention, and maybe his personality has changed ever so slightly, but not in like a huge way. But he still spends a lot of time with us. It's very rare for him to be on his own. Sometimes in the mornings, while the sun is out, he'll sit on the chair at the back door and soak in the sun. But after the sun starts to go down, I mean, you almost never find him without us. He always wants to hang around us. But yeah, he's gotten a lot better in the past year or so. But a friend is. It's all but certain. It's all but certain, and you'll just have to trust us whenever I say that we're thinking about it, we want to do it, and we've got some other stuff going on. Like, man, there's other stuff going on, and once we get through all of that's kind of on the horizon. So we'll talk more about that in the very near future. And that's it. I answered just about all of the questions, to be honest. There's a lot of repeat questions, too. If I didn't answer it, I may have just skipped over it accidentally, to be honest, and I apologize. I am happy to do this. I know that we don't do traditional Q&As anymore, except but once a year, so hopefully this was kind of nice. And if why don't we just use this opportunity? If you have just questions in general, ask them here. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to be soon, but maybe at some point in the near future, it might be a few weeks down the line, it might be a few months down the line, I'll come back to the comments on this vlog and I'll answer some more stuff. It doesn't have to be about update related stuff. It can just be questions or something like that. But if you have more questions, we'll kind of use this like a quick fire Q&A. And I say quick, but this video is long. But in fairness, I answered a lot of stuff, so maybe it was kind of nice. I don't know. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?